In the shadowy wilderness of 1980s America, where dense forests and rugged mountains held secrets older than time, tales of inexplicable vanishings and chilling Bigfoot encounters gripped small communities and haunted lone travelers. From the mist-laden trails of Oregon to the quiet backroads of Pennsylvania, these stories weave a tapestry of dread. Hikers swallowed by the wild without a trace, and fleeting glimpses of hulking, otherworldly creatures that defy explanation. Drawn from archived records and David Paulides' Missing 411 investigations. The following 8 accounts from 1980 to 1990 blur the line between the known and the unknown, leaving us to wonder what truly lurks in the untamed corners of the world. 1. Keith Zunka disappearance, October 24, 1981. Location: Umatilla National Forest, Oregon. The Umatilla National Forest, with its dense pines and fog-shrouded ridges, was an unforgiving place in late October, where the air carried a damp chill and shadows seemed to shift in the undergrowth. On that fateful day, 21-year-old Keith Zunke, a young man with mental disabilities, was hiking with a group in this sprawling wilderness. Known for his gentle demeanor and love of nature, Keith was sent back to camp alone when he grew tired, a decision that would haunt his companions forever. The trail was narrow, flanked by towering firs and slick with fallen leaves, yet Keith never reached the campsite. His absence sparked a frantic search involving 500 volunteers, helicopters slicing through the mist, and bloodhounds sniffing every possible path. For 30 years, the forest held its secret, offering no trace, not a scrap of clothing, not a footprint. In 2011, skeletal remains were found in a remote ravine, initially mistaken for a Native American burial due to their odd arrangement among the rocks. Forensic analysis confirmed they were Keith's, but the cause of death remained elusive. How had he traveled so far into such treacherous terrain? Locals whispered of strange lights seen in the forest that night, and some speculated an unseen force, natural or otherwise, lured him into the heart of the wilderness, where the trees seemed to close ranks against searchers. The mystery left a lingering dread among hikers, who avoided that stretch of Umatilla for years, fearing what might still lurk in its depths. Reference: Missing 411, North America and Beyond, by David Paulides, 2012. 2. James Jim Beveridge disappearance, February 7, 1981. Location: Mount Palomar, California. The snow-dusted slopes of Mount Palomar were a stark contrast to its usual sunny allure when 9-year-old Jim Beveridge set out with his 2 brothers for a winter hike. The air was sharp, biting at their noses, and the trail crunched underfoot as they navigated the frosted pines. Jim, bundled in a bright blue downcoat, lagged behind, his small frame struggling against the icy wind. When he vanished moments after his brothers glanced away, it was as if the mountain itself had swallowed him. A desperate search ensued, with volunteers battling sleet and howling gusts. But Jim was found days later, dead on a steep, rocky hillside far from the trail. His body was inexplicably stripped to a t-shirt and shorts, his down coat and one shoe discovered higher up the slope, as if tossed there by some unseen force. The coroner couldn't explain the absence of frostbite or how he reached such an inaccessible spot. Adding to the horror, Jim's godfather, searching for the boy, also vanished in the blizzard, only to be found barely alive, raving about something moving in the snow. Locals spoke of eerie moans echoing through Palomar's valleys that winter, and some hunters claimed to have seen massive, indistinct shapes retreating into the fog. The tragedy left a scar on the community, with rumors of a malevolent presence that targeted the vulnerable, making Mount Palomar a place of whispered warnings for decades. Reference: Missing 411, Western United States and Canada, by David Paulides, 2011. 3. Cody Sheehy disappearance, April 27, 1986. Location: Blue Mountains, Wallowa, Oregon. The Blue Mountains in spring were a deceptive paradise, with wildflowers dotting the meadows and creeks gurgling through ancient forests. 6-year-old Cody Sheehy was enjoying a family picnic near one such creek when he wandered off, his laughter fading into the rustle of leaves. Within minutes, he was gone, as if the earth had opened up beneath him. The family's screams brought rangers, helicopters, and bloodhounds, who scoured the rugged terrain for days. The air grew heavy with the scent of pine and desperation, and searchers reported an oppressive silence in the woods, as if the birds themselves were holding their breath. Miraculously, Cody was found 18 miles away, disoriented and barefoot, his clothes torn by brambles. He spoke of hiding from coyotes and cars, but the remote area had no roads, and no coyote tracks were found. His wide eyes and trembling voice suggested he'd seen something far worse than animals, something he couldn't name. Locals recalled strange lights flickering in the mountains that week, and an old trapper swore he'd heard a low, guttural growl, unlike any creature he knew. Cody's survival was a miracle, but the mystery of how a child crossed such a vast, perilous distance left hikers wary of the Blue Mountains, where the shadows seemed to watch a little too closely. Reference: Missing 411, North America and Beyond, by David Paulides, 2012. 4. Darning Shoe Disappearance, November 4, 1987. Location: French Peak Creek, Three Sisters Wilderness, Oregon. The Three Sisters Wilderness, with its jagged volcanic peaks and dense forests, was a magnet for seasoned hikers like 63-year-old Darning Shoe. On a crisp November morning, he set out alone for a day hike, his pack stocked and his spirits high. Witnesses at the summit saw him smiling, his weathered face lit by the pale sun. But he never returned to his car. The search was immediate, with rangers combing the lava fields and creeks, but the wilderness seemed to mock their efforts, offering only silence and the occasional snap of a twig in the distance. Shoe's car sat untouched, his cell phone inside, a detail that baffled investigators, as if he'd been plucked from the trail. Conflicting reports about his last sighting added to the unease. One hiker claimed Shoe seemed disoriented, while another swore he'd heard a low hum, like machinery, in the air that day. The Three Sisters area was already notorious for vanishings, and locals whispered of something old in the woods, a presence that didn't take kindly to intruders. Shoe's disappearance fueled these tales, with some claiming to see fleeting shadows or feel sudden, inexplicable chills near French Peak Creek, as if the wilderness itself was guarding a terrible secret. Reference: Missing 411, North America and Beyond, by David Paulides, 2012. 5. Clearfield motorist Bigfoot sighting, January 1980. Location: near Weber River, Clearfield, Utah. The moon hung low over the Weber River, casting a silver sheen on the icy highway cutting through Clearfield's outskirts. A lone motorist, his heater humming against the January chill, was driving home when his headlights caught a massive, hulking figure lurching across the road. Standing over 7 feet tall and weighing an estimated 600 pounds, the creature's matted fur glistened with frost, its eyes glinting like coals in the dark. It moved with unnatural speed, vanishing into the skeletal trees before the driver could process the sight. His hands shook as he reported a foul, musky odor that clung to the air, accompanied by a low, guttural howl that seemed to vibrate through the car. That month, other drivers reported similar encounters, describing the same stench and eerie cries echoing from the riverbanks. Locals began avoiding the road after dusk, fearing the creature was more than a bear or hoax, perhaps something ancient, stalking the fringes of civilization. The sightings left a palpable tension in Clearfield, with whispers of a beast that watched from the shadows, waiting for the unwary to cross its path. Reference: Utah's Bigfoot Sightings article on Hangar One Publishing. Com. Archived via web.archive.org. Writer unknown. Originally published circa 1980s reports, summarized in 2024. 6. Vanderburgh County Bigfoot Approach, June 1980. Location: Vanderburgh County, Indiana, near hiking trails. The summer evening was warm and heavy with the scent of honeysuckle as a man tended to his rabbits in a quiet corner of Vanderburgh County, near trails popular with hikers. As dusk painted the sky purple, he noticed the rabbits freeze, their ears twitching. Then he saw it, a 7-foot figure swaying in the brush, its black fur blending with the shadows. Its deep-set eyes locked onto him, glowing faintly in the twilight, and its muscular frame moved with a deliberate, menacing grace. Heart pounding, the man backed toward his house as the creature lumbered closer, its heavy breathing like a bellows in the still air. He stumbled inside, locking the door, but not before hearing a low, rumbling growl that seemed to shake the ground. The next morning, he found twisted branches and trampled grass where the creature had stood, as if it had lingered, watching. Neighbors reported similar glimpses that summer, and hikers avoided the trails, spooked by stories of a thing that moved too quietly for its size, leaving only fear and broken foliage in its wake. Reference: Indiana's Bigfoot Encounters and Sightings article on Hangar One Publishing. Com. Archived via webarchive.org. Writer unknown. Originally published circa 1980s report summarized in 2024. 7. Loudoun County Hiker Bigfoot Odor Encounter, 1986. Location: Loudoun County, Virginia, near Shenandoah Trails. The Shenandoah Trails were alive with the hum of cicadas as a lone hiker trekked through Loudoun County's dense woods, the late afternoon sun filtering through the canopy. Then, a rancid stench, like rotting meat mixed with wet fur, hit him, stopping him in his tracks. 20 feet away, partially hidden by ferns, stood an 8-foot creature, its shaggy brown fur matted with leaves, its eyes glowing an unnatural yellow. It knuckle-walked a few steps, its massive shoulders rolling, and the hiker froze, his breath catching as the odor grew so thick it made his eyes water. The creature stared, unblinking, before retreating into the underbrush with a rustle that belied its size. The hiker, nauseated and trembling, vomited on the trail and fled, vowing never to return. Other hikers reported similar encounters that year, describing the same putrid smell and fleeting glimpses of a hulking figure. The woods took on a sinister reputation, with locals warning of a presence that didn't just watch, it hunted. Reference: District of Columbia Bigfoot Sightings, You Need to Know About article on Hangar One Publishing. Com. Archived via web.archive.org. Writer unknown. Originally published circa 1986 reports summarized in 2024. 8. Johnstown Footprint Terror, 1980. Location: Johnstown, Pennsylvania, near forested hiking areas. In the quiet town of Johnstown, nestled among Pennsylvania's rolling hills, the winter of 1980 brought an unsettling mystery. Residents near forested hiking trails woke to bone-chilling howls that pierced the night, accompanied by a sulfurous stench that seeped through cracked windows. One morning, a massive 17.75-inch footprint was found in the muddy ground near a cluster of homes, its dermal ridges unlike any known animal. Hikers reported seeing a towering shadow, over 8 feet tall, fleeing into the dense woods, its footsteps shaking the earth like distant thunder. The print's discovery sparked panic, with families locking doors and hunters refusing to venture out alone. Some claimed to hear heavy breathing outside their homes at night, and one child swore she saw a giant with hairy arms peering through her window. The footprint, preserved in plaster, was studied but never explained, fueling tales of an ancient creature stalking Johnstown's forests, watching hikers with predatory intent. Reference: The 10 Most Convincing Bigfoot Sightings article on Outside Online, archived via web.archive.org. Writer Grayson Haver Curran, published August 17, 2022, summarizing 1980 Associated Press reports. These 8 eerie tales from the 1980s, of vanishings without answers and Bigfoot's haunting presence, leave a lingering chill. Whether it's the wilderness claiming its own or something ancient watching from the shadows, these mysteries whisper of secrets the forests will never tell. Next, we have 15 terrifying Bigfoot and scary camping tales from Reddit. Hey Reddit, gather round the virtual campfire. I've got a collection of spine-chilling camping and Bigfoot stories that'll make you think twice before pitching a tent in the deep woods. These tales, inspired by the creepy vibes of R No Sleep and R Bigfoot, are packed with eerie encounters and unexplained mysteries. Each one's got a fictional author, date, time, and location to feel like it just popped up on your feed. So grab a flashlight and brace yourself. These stories will keep you up all night. 1. The Whispering Pines. Posted by You Shadowed Hiker 23. Date: July 12, 2024. Time: 9:47 p.m. PDT. Location: Olympic National Forest, Washington. Last summer, my buddies and I camped deep in Olympic National Forest, chasing the thrill of a remote getaway. We set up near a dense pine grove, the kind where the trees seemed to lean in and whisper. Around 2 a.m., we heard it. A low, guttural hum, like someone chanting far away. We laughed it off as wind, but then the air went dead still. No crickets, no owls, nothing. Just silence so thick it pressed on your chest. Then, a snap. A branch, maybe. But it was deliberate, heavy, circling our camp. I grabbed my flashlight, and its beam caught two glowing eyes, way too high off the ground for a bear. They blinked, and whatever it was bolted, shaking the ground. In the morning, we found massive footprints, 16 inches long, pressed deep into the mud. No one's gone back since. 2. The Thing at the Lake. Posted by You, Campfire Ghosts. Date, September 3, 2023. Time, 11:15 p.m. PDT. Location, Lake Superior, Michigan. My family rented a cabin by Lake Superior for a week. On night 3, I woke up to my dog growling at the window. I thought it was a raccoon, but when I looked, I saw a shadow. Tall, humanoid, but wrong. Its arms were too long, swaying like branches. I froze as it pressed against the glass, not knocking, just pushing. The window creaked, and I swear I heard breathing, deep and ragged. My dog went nuts, and it vanished. The next day, we found handprints smudged in mud on the cabin wall, way bigger than any humans. My dad said it was a prank, but I saw his face. He was scared shitless. 3. The Screaming Valley. Posted by You, Trailblazer 88. Date, March 15th, 2025. Time, 7:22 a.m. PDT. Location, San Juan Mountains, Colorado. I'm a seasoned hiker, but nothing prepared me for the San Juans last fall. I was solo camping in a valley when I heard a scream at dusk. Not human, not animal, like something tearing the air apart. I figured it was a mountain lion, but it kept circling my tent, getting closer. I clutched my knife, heart pounding as rocks clattered outside. Then, a thud hit my tent, hard enough to shake the poles. I unzipped it just enough to peek and saw a massive figure, hairy and upright, hurling stones into the dark. It locked eyes with me, and I felt understood, like it knew I was there. I didn't sleep. At dawn, I found a pile of rocks stacked outside my tent, too precise for nature. 4. The Midnight Visitor. Posted by You Chew Firelight Fears. Date, June 8, 2022. Time, 1:03 a.m. PDT. Location, Hiawatha National Forest, Michigan. My girlfriend and I were car camping in Hiawatha, just us and the stars. Around midnight we heard footsteps, heavy, deliberate, crunching leaves. I called out, thinking it was a ranger, but no answer. The steps stopped, then started again, closer. Our campfire flickered, and I saw it. A silhouette, maybe 8 feet tall, standing just beyond the light. It didn't move, just watched. My girlfriend whispered, "It's not human." We locked ourselves in the car, and the thing circled us for hours, occasionally brushing against the metal. When dawn broke, it was gone, but we found deep scratches on the car's hood, like claws. Never camping again. 5. The Eyes in the Fog. Posted by You Moonlit Wanderer. Date, October 29th, 2024. Time, 10:19 p.m. PDT. Location, Great Smoky Mountains, Tennessee. I was backpacking with my brother in the Smokies when a thick fog rolled in, so dense we could barely see our hands. We set up camp early, feeling uneasy. Around 3 a.m., I woke to a rhythmic knocking, wood on wood like someone banging trees. My brother said it was probably a hiker, but it felt off. Then we saw them, 6 glowing eyes in the fog, 3 sets, all too high to be animals. They moved closer, and the knocking stopped. We heard heavy breathing, then a low growl that vibrated in our bones. We stayed silent, praying. At first light, the fog cleared, revealing huge footprints circling our tent. 6. The Stolen Feast. Posted by You Grub and Gloom. Date, November 25th, 2023. Time, 6:30 p.m. PDT. Location, Adirondack Mountains, New York. Thanksgiving camping seemed like a fun idea. Me, my cousins, and a deep-fried turkey. We left the bird on the picnic table while we set up tents. Out of nowhere, a massive shadow burst from the woods, grabbed the turkey, pan and all, and sprinted off like it was running a touchdown. We screamed, half laughing, half terrified. It was no bear. Too tall, too fast, and it moved on 2 legs. Later, we found the pan in the brush, empty, with huge, human-like prints around it. My cousin swears it looked back at us, grinning. Still gives me chills. 7. The Silent Stalker, posted by Woods Whisperer. Date, April 5, 2024. Time, 2:14 a.m. PDT. Location, Black Hills, South Dakota. I was solo camping in the Black Hills, testing new gear. At night, the forest went silent. No birds, no wind, just nothing. I felt watched, like eyes were boring into me. Around 1 a.m., I heard a single step, then another, slow and heavy, circling my camp. I shone my flashlight, but it didn't reach far enough. Then, a rock landed inches from my tent, followed by another. I yelled, and something roared back. Not animal, not human, but primal. I packed up at dawn, finding a trail of massive footprints leading into the trees. I'm not a believer, but what was that? 8. The Cabin in the Woods. Posted by Nightmare Nomad. Date, August 14th, 2025. Time, 8:55 p.m. PDT. Location, Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Rented a cabin on Vancouver Island for a solo retreat. First night, I heard scratching on the walls, like nails on wood. I thought it was branches, but it was rhythmic, intentional. I looked out and saw a massive figure, hairy and upright, peering through the window. Its eyes were too human, too knowing. I barricaded the door, heart racing, as it pounded once, shaking the whole cabin. It left after an hour, but I found deep claw marks in the wood outside. Locals said it's the Sasquatch protecting its land. I believe them now. 9. The Child's Warning. Posted by Family Camper 99. Date, May 20th, 2023. Time, 4:12 p.m. PDT. Location, Ouachita National Forest, Arkansas. Camping with my wife and 6-year-old daughter in Ouachita was supposed to be chill. One evening, my daughter froze, staring into the woods, and said, "Daddy, the big man's watching us." I laughed it off, but she insisted, pointing at a tree line. I saw nothing, but later that night, we heard heavy footsteps and a low, rumbling growl. My daughter whispered, "He's mad we're here." We packed up at first light, finding huge, barefoot prints near our campfire. She still talks about the big man. I don't know what to think. 10. The Riverbank Shadow, posted by River Rat Rogue. Date, February 10th, 2024. Time, 3:28 a.m. PDT. Location, Klamath National Forest, California. I was fishing along a river in Klamath, camping solo. At dusk, I felt uneasy, like I wasn't alone. Across the river, I saw a huge figure, taller than any man, covered in dark fur, watching me. It didn't move, just stared, its eyes glinting in the fading light. I shouted, and it stepped behind a tree, gone in a second. Later, I heard rocks splashing into the water, like it was throwing them. I left at dawn, finding a massive handprint in the mud by my gear. Never felt so small. And that's the last of these creepy tales. Whether it's glowing eyes in the fog or footprints that vanish into nowhere, these stories remind us the wilderness holds secrets we might never understand. Have you had a spooky camping or Bigfoot encounter? Dr.